It's another good day here at the Great Debaters Contest. Welcome to the show. I am Mariam Bishar.
I am Austin Nyombok.
Democracy seems to be a system that is failing Africa, with so many disputed elections plunging countries into anarchy. So today we ask if Africa should adopt a monarchical system of government.
Proposing the motion, we have Loreto Limuru that wish their opponents bonne chance, which in French means success. As for Starehe girls, they have told their opponents that they are not an institution, but an institution of difference. So, can they bring metal to the debate?
The motion this week is African states should adopt a monarchical system of government. Proposing the motion, Starehe Girls Center. Opposing the motion, Loreto Limuru.
Each contestant has 3 minutes to make their submissions. The audience also gets a chance to put their questions to each team. Each side will have an additional 1 minute to make a final statement. The judge's decision is final. The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with the widescreen TV, computers, webcams, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a tablet courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Unilever, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win.
Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes to begin.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm Zipora Njikugaku from Starehe Girls Center. And today, I do believe that a monarchical system of government is the best system of government for Africans. Why do I say so? I'll tell you later. First, what is a monarchical system of government? This is a system of government which has one permanent ruler who rules until he or she dies, or until he is succeeded by his successor, who happens to be his or her offspring, or a close relative of theirs. Why do I so believe in a monarchical system? Let's look at this. I'm a monarch. I inherited my position, rightfully inheriting it. I ascended to the throne after my father, rightfully. No political party, no lobby group or institution sponsored me to that leadership position. And so when I get there, I'm not accountable to anyone. I do not have to please someone when I'm in that position. But if I'm a president or a prime minister, a certain political party sponsored me to this position. A certain lobby group sponsored me to this position. So when I get to that leadership position, in each and every decision that I make, I have to ensure that each decision that I make favors the political party which got me to this position. And each decision that I make is suitable for them. But this leads to biasness in that system of government. But in a monarch, I'm not eligible to anyone, so the decision that I make is free of biasness. And I looked out to all my subjects equally because all of them are equal before my eyes. But if I'm a prime minister or I'm a president, I'll have to give some special people some special treatment because they played a role in my going into that leadership position. Thus, a monarchical system of government is better than a republic or a democratic system of government in matters regarding impartiality. Then, a monarchy is a force for civilization. World civilization nowadays, it is usually built by the ancient monarchies that we've had in the previous 18th century. And so it is so difficult to imagine the civilization in India without the influence of Mughal emperors of Ashok and Akbar. And a monarchy plays a great role in building great things. For instance, the Great Wall of India, of China, which was built under the influence of a monarchical power. The pyramids in Egypt, they are also built under the influence of a monarchical power. And thus, a monarchy brings civilization will bring civilization in our continent, which is all that we need for Africans to develop, for the African continent to develop. Power corrupts. And a monarchy system of government eliminates the struggle for power and divisions and conflicts in a government because we already know which leader is going to take part, who is going to rise to the throne after the leader who's there right now. And so there won't be any power struggles, because these power struggles leads to killings. It leads to a lot of other evil things that happen today. A lot of corruption happens due to the struggle for power. And even all of us here, we all know that, like in Kenya, we always have the elections which take place. And after elections, we have the tension in the country that there might be clashes. And these clashes are brought about due to the struggle for power that happens there. This will not be the case if African states adopt the monarchical system of government. Thank you.
First opposer, you have 3 minutes to make your opening remarks.
So before I begin, I'd like to correct my esteemed opponents. According to my 8th edition Advanced Learners Dictionary, there is no monarchical system of government. It's a monarchical system of government. So a monarchy is a form of government where authority is placed on a single individual and is usually hereditary. So why are we opposing this motion today that monarchical system of government should not be taken up by African states? You see, there is a lack of democratic legitimacy and accountability. We do not choose or do not have the power to choose who comes into power next. Whether the person is aged, senile, or underqualified, the person will still come into power. So the philosopher Immanuel Kant in the 18th century once said that paternalistic states such as monarchies are inherently immoral because they do not deny individuals that rationally choose to oppose their own pursuits. So this was once done by Loreto in the state of Colombia. So in an absolute monarchy, there are no bodies or opposition parties to critique and keep them on their toes. A monarchy does not have anybody to oppose what he does. He does not have a manifesto which tells him what he's supposed to achieve. So this in one way or another affects what he does and does not help the country to be able to grow economically. Otherwise, I'll give the analogy of the marriage. You see, in marriage, when you're bored with your partner, you can be able to separate. You can be able to get divorced. But in a monarchy, when the monarch rises to power, this is what happens. You move with the monarch to the end. You do not get separated. Through thick and thin, you are with them till the end. So this is not what we want for our country. We want change. We want to be able to experience new leaders each and every time we rise up and we want to move on as a country. So that is why we oppose the motion that African states should not adopt a monarchical system of government. Thank you.
We'll now get rebuttals from the proposing team. You have 3 minutes.
I'm here to proudly propose this motion that states that the African governments should take up the monarchical system. One, we are proposing the constitutional type of monarchy, the one which is governed by the constitution. We want change. That's what you've said. We want change. And one thing I've come to learn is that one thing is constant in this world: change. If the republic system of government is not working, let us change it. Monarchs are generally born to be monarchs. They are born in palaces, which acts both as a home and a school. They are taught on good governance, and hence can become leaders from an early age. Look at this. Political parties and political leaders start their careers at such an age and end their careers while still learning. But look at a monarch. He's brought up in a palace. He's able to learn from the mistakes of the father. From the mistake of the father, he corrects, and from the achievements, he improves. We have political stability. We need long-term development in this nation. We need long-term development in this constitution, in this continent, And we have, like the Jubilee government, started the laptop project, of which is a primary issue to them. But to another political party, that is just a secondary issue. What happens if the Jubilee government loses in the next election? The laptop project will just be terminated. But in a monarchical system of government, the king rules until he dies. Thus, he has more time to accomplish his dreams. Look at the countries which have monarchical system of governments. Example, Japan, UK, Sweden, Norway. What is common about them? They are superpowers. They have money. They are economically strong. Before colonization, Africa had the monarchical system of government. Look at this, the Baganda Kingdom, and in Egypt you had the pharaohs. You have the Lozi Kingdom also. So when you bring back
the monarchical system of government, we shall be preserving our culture. Tourists come to see our culture, our beautiful heritage. And thus will attract more tourists, bringing more money to the government. And the tenacity of a Kalenjin, the resilience of a Luya, the entrepreneurial mind of a Kikuyu, I beg the African states to come and support this motion. Thank you.
The opposing team, you may give your rebuttal. You have 3 minutes.
Angela Nyaga, Loreto High School, Limuru. My esteemed opponents are trying to say that if African states adopt a monarchical system of government, we will develop economically. But, just for your information, Botswana is a republic and it is still developing economically. My fellow opponents have also tried to bring out the fact that since the head of state of a monarchy is taught on how to rule from birth, he will have the appropriate qualifications when he comes of age. But let me ask you, if you are 1 year old and you cannot still get the concept of adding 1 to 3, does it mean that if the teacher keeps on repeating it, from when you're 1 year old to when you're 18 years old, you will get to understand the concept? The fact that I'm in king or a queen's bloodline does not mean that I have the intellectual capability, the political maturity to lead a kingdom. There is no assurance there. We cannot depend on heredity. In fact, intelligence is not actually passed on genetically. You acquire it. There is no assurance that the next person in heir to the throne will have the intellectual capability to lead a kingdom. They've also said that a monarchical system of government will help us to embrace civilization. Let me give you an example of Lesotho, which many of you like to call Lesotho, but whichever the case, it is still Lesotho. It works using a monarchical system of government, but this is what has happened. There is the Ibrahim Index of African Governance that is a watchdog. It makes research on the development of countries, human development, social development, economical development, and political development. And they found out that despite Lesotho having a monarchical system of government, 40% of the people still live below the normal income. A third of the population has AIDS. Is this where we are trying to take our African states? Do we want to have 60% of our population suffering from AIDS? Do you want to have 2/3 of our population living below the poverty line? I really don't think so. They've also said that in a monarchical system of government, there is no struggle for power. Well, in 2011, in the Saudi kingdom, the next person in the line, the next one who was going to inherit the throne, fell sick. Quite unfortunate. Who was to take up the throne? The next brother also fell sick in the same year. What happened? The sons fought for the seat. So we also see in a monarchical system of government, there is struggle for power. People want that title, people want that hold, they want the ego that comes with it. We are not assured of no struggle for power in monarchical governments. Thank you.
So may we have 2 questions for the proposers.
Elizabeth Anjiro from Gadirimo Girls, and I have a question. What do you do in a situation whereby the leader to take over the seat does not have the right qualities? And also, don't you think we as the citizen of that country deserve to choose a leader that we think can lead best? Thank you.
I'm Nathan Kabare I'm from Thika High School. So question to the proposers, comparing the rate of growth of economies in monarchical systems of government and democratic government countries, convince otherwise that monarchical countries grow more economically than democratic governments. Thank you.
May we proceed with 2 questions for the opposers?
I'm Frank Agina from Starehe Center. The question is the Dubai Emir system a monarchical system or is it a democratic system?
I'm David Yuri from Thika High School, and I mean to ask the opposers, previously, what choice do you leave the African governments to take up as a suitable form of administration if the democratic systems have failed and you do not want us to implement the monarchical systems? What choice do you leave us?
May we have the 3rd speaker from the proposing side? Please take the stage.
My name is Evelyn Achaya from Starehe Girls Center, and I'm here to respond to the questions asked by the audience. The first question about the qualities of a good leader. Suppose the person getting over or being given the power is not a good leader. Here we are dealing about the constitutional type of monarchical, whereby the citizens are going to be involved in part of the decision making of that monarchy. So if the person taking over the power is a bad leader, and then citizens have a right to be involved in decision making, whether that person is responsible enough to take up the power. And then before the monarchical system of governance is installed into place, the family lineage of that person has to be scrutinized, and they have to know that this family is going to rule us as a monarchical system of government. So I hope you answered. And then about the economic growth of the monarchical countries that take monarchical system of administration. First, we have Japan, United Kingdom. These are countries that are growing economically. Compare yourself with Kenya, Nigeria, and some other countries in Africa, whereby you keep on complaining as Africans that tunaonewa. I mean, what's the problem with Africans? Are you not seeing and trying to emulate the good examples of other countries like the United Kingdom, whereby they're growing economically, and you know it's very that you cannot compare the economic growth of Kenya as a country or Nigeria as a country, the economic growth of United Kingdom. I hope that suits you. My first point, monarchical system of administration, it eliminates the claims about marginalization and neglection of some of the minority groups, whereby they say that they have failed to participate in the national cake, which seems not to be enough for them. As Africans, you've always heard of people complaining that when a certain group of people or a certain leader takes up position, there has to be a minority group that will complain that there is no justice. So in order for us to eliminate this issue of injustices and Africans fighting, Africans losing blood, I'm personally tired of seeing many Africans dying just because of the kind of leaders we have. And it's high time that Africa, you see the disadvantages of the republic type of governance. So you need the monarchical system of governance. 2, a leader needs the peace of mind so that he can rule you. I know you come from different places, but a father needs a peace of mind to guide the family into the right way. So as in a republic type of government, there is no peace of mind. This is because of the so much pressure exerted on the leader from the political parties and from different people in the society. How do you expect such a leader to help you? How do you expect him to ensure economic growth of your country if you don't give them peace? That is why we need the monarchical system of governance, so that our leaders are given enough peace to rule this continent into the right place. And then you'll find out that the distance from your head to your right hand is the same distance from this same head to your left hand. So the same way that you accepted the republic type of governance is the same way that you're going to accept the monarchical system of governance. Because I tend to find that the monarchical system of governance is more stronger. It's in the right hand side. And it's because Africans, you've been blinded and you do not know the importance of the monarchical system of governance. So please, Africa, can you open your eyes, open your minds, and think harder? Thank you.
Can also respond to the audience questions from the opposing side.
Eunice Mwakal, Loreto High School, Limuru. In reference to the question that was asked, is Dubai a monarchical state? First and foremost, Dubai was sold to a young man who was under 25 years old, so it's hardly considered a state that will help us govern Africa. And to the second question, if the democratic system has failed, what choice do we have? We have a choice. We do not have to change the system of government in order to make Africa better. We could change the way we do our things. For example, Botswana, which, by the way, has the highest average economic growth rate in the world and also the least corrupt country in Africa. To them, during elections, the political parties are restricted to a maximum spending of 50,000 pullers, which is translated to 475,000 Kenyan shillings for the elections. But taking, for example, South Africa, the ANC party spent 2 billion shillings on on the posters and t-shirts and the campaigns, and which is now being paid by the taxpayers, is actually fair. We could follow their footsteps, the footsteps of Botswana, and limit the way we spend our money. We could limit the money we spend on our government and things like that. Either way, we do not have to change our system to a monarchical system of government. And also, as the monarchical leaders may have been raised from birth to be great, to be leaders, but what if the leader comes into power before they are mature, or what if they do not have the qualifications? For example, King Mswati became king when he was 14 years old. Right now, he's the richest person in Swaziland, while the rest of the country is suffering. In France, King Louis XIV became king when he was 9 years old. During his reign of 72 years, there was the French Revolution. That is to show that the monarchs are not actually the best form of government that we have right now. Every single form of government has its consequences, it has its faults, but what we can do is work on what we have right now to bring it forward. In India, Mahatma Gandhi's line has been ruling from the beginning till recent times, when the new president is the only one who has not been from Mahatma Gandhi's line. But because they realized, according to the study of genetics, the gene of character or leadership is not passed down from one person to the other. The genes of character and leadership are found in individuals, which we elect. During elections, we find the people who have those genes, and we can be able to work on them and give them the best chance that we can. Africa needs a chance to survive what we have. Thank you.
We'll now have closing remarks from the proposing team. You have 1 minute.
Africa has always talked of change, and thinking positively about the type of leadership they have in this continent. It is now time has come for us to stop talking about change and now act. You've talked about changing everything about what you think and the mentality that you have. But it's now time that we change on what we're acting upon it. It's not time right now to think of how good we are. It's time now for us to compare ourselves with other developing nations, because each African person thinks of economic growth of this continent. And that's true. Africans have been blinded, and some of us prove that we do not know what is happening in Africa. It is very true that in Africa there is indirect monarchical system of governance, and I'm going to prove this to this. For example, in Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta is the current president of Kenyan government. Some time back, his father was the president of this country. Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is one of the good leaders in this country. His father was also a good leader in this country. We know that in a place like Naivasha, Jen Kihara took power after his husband. The leadership is learning in the lineage. Don't you think this is indirect type of monarchical of governments? Africa, you need to notice this, and that's why these leaders have noticed that it is so good. So please, may you take up this monarchical system of governance, and please change your attitude. Thank you.
Opposers, you also have 1 minute for your final submission.
Ostriches are big animals. They have quite a large amount of weight, but they have one distinct behavior. When trouble approaches, they bury their heads in sand. That is what, as Africa, we are trying to do. We are trying to forget our problems, trying to pretend they're not there by adapting the monarchical system of government. We should stop beating around the bush. What Africa needs is not a change of the system of governance. It is a change in the mentality of our leaders, in their modes of behavior, in what they think they should do when ruling this country. There is no need of jumping from point A to C by adapting the monarchical system of government and forgetting that we have our inner selves to change. We have problems that are within us to change. We have the problem of corruption. We have the problem of nepotism. We have so much that we can change and improve this continent without necessarily adapting the monarchical system of government. We should stop beating around the bush. Thank you.
Starehe, Zipporah, it was a fair start. Vicky also came in, good way to build from what your colleague did. Nonetheless, I expected you to advance some sound arguments. I know it's difficult to defend the motion, really, because of evidence challenges, but I equally expected to advance some more arguments. When you talk about campaign money or election money, campaign money rather, it should be put into development projects. I really wish you could cite 2 or 3 countries that we have a rough figure. This amount of money is used for campaigns, political campaigns. But if we can put them into development projects, then it is this amount and it can do this and this in our country. Then you become more sound in your argument rather than being abstract, although it was fair. Evelyn, you've been here before. It's good to know that you're growing. It's good to know that you're really, really growing. The way you speak, you're really a strong person in your team. The way you speak, you convince the audience, you're very appealing. It's good to know that. To the 2 teams, good job done.
Loreto High School, Matilda. I was wondering what's the word senile? It's senile. Okay. So for a moment there, I thought I was learning a new word until I looked it up. And then you also read off the stage really early. You had 50 seconds to go, and that in the life of a debater is a lifetime. The marriage analogy, I also didn't quite get it at the beginning. Angela, again, good job. You were able to lift up your team. But we say organizations or institutions do or undertake research. They don't make research. You conduct research. Eunice Mwaka, again, a good submission. But again, you were also dealing with fright. And so at some point, you almost forgot what you were to say. I think overall, as the judging table, we are unanimous in this one. This was an easy one, for us in terms of decision making. All the best to the 2 teams.
I must say that I was drawn to both sides, and I will make comments to both teams. I want to applaud your use of examples. They were very relevant. The issue about debate is that you have to persuade us, and you have to persuade even your audience to your side of the motion that you have taken. And what is happening where we have the monarchical system of government, and what is happening to the democratic governance where we have elections? I mean, those 2 sides had enough weight to give, and I think you gave enough examples. Learn to involve your audience. I think there was no involvement of the audience from the panelists, so it was very good for you to try and gain some extra points by involving your audience. Be more creative in your delivery so that we just don't have monotony of delivery. You can be very good when you're speaking out, but however, when you have some at least creative ways of bringing out your messages, they'll be able to captivate us and even captivate the audience. So all the best to the 2 teams.
Starehe Girls Center and Loreto Limuru Girls all have 70%. Please give them a round of applause.
We congratulate both teams for the job well done. We hope we both get to see them in the nationals. From us here at the Great Debaters Contest, it's goodbye till next time. I am Mariam Bishar.
And I am Austin Yumbok.
The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with the widescreen TV, computers, webcams, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a tablet courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Unilever, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together, they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win.